Hi, my name is Shan and welcome back to the chaos that is Shani and books. Today I am doing another reading vlog and it is based around the Goodreads Choice Awards. If you saw my last, I think it'll be my last reading vlog, I read the top 10 fiction winners from 2020 because it took me a whole year. Whoa, what's my tree doing? It took me a whole year to get that video done. But anyway, what I learned from that video at the end is that the books that I was already interested in were the ones that had ranked higher for me personally than the books that I hadn't heard of. Because I did that experiment, I thought that maybe I'd find some new favorites in the books that I hadn't heard of from the category, but no. It was all of the books that I was already either interested in or had already owned. Which, within that vlog, and I put timestamps in case you want to skip to this part, but within that vlog I did a reaction to when this year's first round of nominees were announced, so the top 20 it was this year. And in that reaction, or afterwards, I realized that within each category, I had only read like one or two, if I'm lucky, books in each, or none. But in each, there happened to be around one or two that I had sitting on my shelf. So I think in this vlog, what I'm going to do is read one book from each category, or almost every. I'm not going to go and get a book in the ones that I don't care about. Because if my last vlog was correct, then that means that the ones that I was already interested in are going to be good anyway. So let me just go through each category for you and tell you which ones I already have or are interested in getting. And then you can tell me, based on the taste that I have, that you know of, whether you think I would like them or not if you've read them. And then I'll get into reading one from each, almost each category. So we start off with fiction, which was category, is category the right word? The category that I had read the most of last year, which funnily enough, looking at it this year, I had actually read none, but I already owned 4 of them on my shelf. And in addition to that, I was interested in reading 4 more. Then looking at the mystery thriller books, I had read 1 and I owned 1 on my shelf, but there were 11 additional books that I would be interested in reading. From historical fiction, I had already read 2 of the first round and I owned 1 on my shelf, and I was interested in probably only 1 extra. From fantasy, I had read only 1, which isn't surprising, but I'd be interested in reading 3 more. I didn't own any more fantasy books. From romance, I had only read 1 and I owned 3 more, 2 of which are actually in the mail to me. So technically they're not on my shelf yet, but there's 9 extra books that I would be interested in reading. From horror, I had only read 1 and there were none on my shelf that were unread from this category. Surprisingly, humor, I hadn't read any, but I owned 1 on my shelf. From non-fiction, I hadn't read any and I didn't own any, but I almost bought the comfort book. I'm interested in 3 of them and I was really close to buying the comfort book recently, but yeah, I didn't, so don't own any. Same for memoir and autobiography. Haven't read any, but I'm interested in 2 of them and I was really close to getting Beautiful Country recently, but I didn't. Just to look at the debut novel section, I had read 2 of them and I owned 2, but these were both from different categories as well. And from this, I'm interested in 7 more. From young adult, I had read 2 of them. 3 of them are sitting on my shelf waiting to be read, and I'd be interested in 4 others. And then from young adult, sci-fi and fantasy, I'd only read 1 and I don't have any more on my shelf, nor was I really interested in any of them. And then middle grade and children's, which were these 2 separate categories last year? I don't know. I haven't read any, but I own Amari, which I did get halfway through and kind of just put it down randomly. But I was also so close to buying Eyes That Kiss in the Corners, so I don't know if I should get that. Anyway, so that's my brief wrap up of the sections that I was actually interested in. I didn't go over all of them because there were some that didn't interest me at all. Which leaves me with 7 different genres that I owned around about 1 to 3-ish books on my shelf from that were unread. So if I purchased them and they're on my shelf, then I'm obviously interested in them. And like I said, if my last video is anything to go by, that means that I'm probably gonna like these. So we'll go over them quickly. From fiction, I did only have one, which was Dial A for Aunties, when I had planned this video out, but literally yesterday I picked up the Sally Rooney book. So I was going to read this for this video, but I think that the Sally Rooney book is more representative of the category because I thought this was a mystery. So I think I'm going to read this one instead for the fiction. From the mystery thriller category, I have The Good Sister, which this actually came out last year in Australia. Yeah, 2020, but I think that the US edition came out in 2021, which is why it's on this list. From the historical fiction, I have The Prophets. The romance, like I said, there's two that are in the mail. I think I'm going to read the X-Hex if it comes in time. If not, the one that I have on my shelf is the Sally Thorne one that I have physically, but I'm pretty sure the X-Hex will arrive like within the next few days. From humor, I have Yearbook by Seth Rogen. From young adult, I have The Project by Courtney Summers. And then for the middle grade / children's book, Amari is the only one that I have physically, but I started reading this for a book club months ago, and then I put it down, and then Kian took my bookmark out, and now I don't know where I'm up to, and so I'm really not in the mood to pick it back up. So I was so close to buying Eyes That Kiss in the Corners like literally days ago. So I don't know. I know this is meant to be like books that I already had on my shelf, but maybe I'll get that one, or if I'll get it from my library and see if I like it, because I was gonna buy it for Kian for Christmas because I like giving books for Christmas presents. So yes, we have 7 books from 7 different genres, one from each, of the top 20 nominees. However, the voting for the first round does close in like, I don't know, a couple of days. So when the top 10 comes out, it's very possible that some of these might get bumped out, but it's fine. Yeah, so like I said, I'm just picking one from each category. There are other books, obviously, that I own from the categories, but I have either plans for a different reading vlog, or I just picked the ones that I felt like reading. And I have started 2 of them. I started 2 today, so I read a few chapters of The Project by Courtney Summers. Sadie by this author is one of my all-time favorite books, and I was so excited for this to come out this year, but I saw not super great reviews, so that's why I've been putting it off. But it is about this girl who's trying to save her sister from a cult, I think. The other book that I've started reading is Yearbook by Seth Rogen, which is from the humor genre. And I'm also listening to the audiobook alongside reading physically, because Seth Rogen does the audiobook himself, and it's quite well done. It's good listening to him read it himself, but I really like how it's produced. There's music in it as well, which I'm not a huge fan of, like them putting the music in the background, but there's like snippets of things where they'll be watching a TV show, or it's like I don't know, that there's just like things in it, and it makes it sound like it's from the TV show in the background. Like just the way it's produced is really well. I explain that really weird, but it's good. And this cover is so awesome. Like I really love when things are underneath the dust jacket. So cute. Obviously, each of these books are from a different genre, so I'm not going to rank them against each other. I'm going to rate them, I guess, how well they do in their own category. So for this one, I'm ranking based on how humorous it is, since it's in the humor category, and so far it's funny. So, alright, that's enough for this update. I'll come back when I'm done. Hi, I just wanted to film a quick clip. I'm actually not done reading any books yet. I'm currently reading, you might be able to see in the background, The Project. I'm almost done, but they just announced the final round of the Goodreads choice thing, so I thought I would do like a little reaction to looking at the top 10, and we'll see if any of the books that I have chosen for this picking one book from each category video was eliminated from the awards. Imagine if every single book that I am reading was eliminated. That'd be funny. Anyway, on to the awards. Okay, so let's have a look at the final round. All right, so fiction. So The Guncle is still on there. That's one that I would like to read, but it's really expensive when I try to buy it online. I don't know. Okay, so Dial A for Aunties is still on there. Okay, the Sally Rooney book is still there. So what got bumped from that category? I'll have to look later. Okay, mystery thriller. So the book I had on my shelf was The Good Sister, and that did not make it into the next round. Okay, historical fiction. I'm reading The Prophets, and that is so been eliminated. We're going good, guys. We're going really, really good. Okay, romance. Okay, it's the first one. The X-Hex is still in, and my other option was the Sally Thorne one, which got eliminated. So hopefully the X-Hex comes in time, otherwise I'm reading another eliminated book. Okay, humor. Okay, the Seth Rogen book is still there. I am still reading it, almost done. Okay, so young adults. And The Project has also been eliminated. I'm really doing good. I picked a good one from each category, clearly. Okay, so for middle grade and children's, Amari is still on here. And Eyes That Kiss in the Corners is as well. I actually did end up ordering a copy for our house. I did think that I wanted to give it to Kian for Christmas, but maybe I'll just read it by myself before I wrap it up for him, and then that can be in this video. I do still want to read Amari, but yeah, I wanted to get that picture book anyway. So what just happened? So Beautiful World, Where Are You is still in, Yearbook is still in, and Eyes That Kiss in the Corner. So 3 books of the 7 are, and The Projects, The Good Sister, The Prophet were eliminated. What's the other book? Oh, The X-Hex, but I don't have it physically yet. Oh my gosh. All right, I have my first book update for finishing a book because I just finished reading The Project by Courtney Summers this morning. Funnily enough, this is one of the ones that got bumped and did not make the top 10 for its category, which is young adult, which what classifies a book as being young adult? Because like the characters we're following are all over 18 anyway and are working like jobs, none of them are in school besides the flashbacks. So when does a book become adult? Like, does it have to address darker themes? Because this does have a few darker themes in it. I don't know. Anyway, that's just a side thought. I think I'm going to rate this like a 3 stars or 3.5 maybe to stretch it, which is disappointing because, like I said, Sadie is one of my all-time favorite books. And yeah, this wasn't as good in my opinion. I still really like the writing style, so I will definitely pick up more from this author without hesitation. But I just feel like there was so much more that the story could have been that it just wasn't. So we are following these 2 sisters, and there's different timelines that we're following in the present and then in the past. So there was a car crash and both of their parents died, and Lo, who is the younger sister, was really badly hurt in the car crash. B, who is the older sister, was not in the car, so she was there in the hospital when Lo was recovering. And then B, we get like this little snippet of basically B saying, I don't know the exact quote, something about seeing him. And from there, we know that she has joined this cult. And then we're following in the future, in the future, or present day, we're following Lo, the younger sister, trying to find out more about this cult because she obviously wants to get her sister back. She hasn't spoken to her sister. And I did really like the way that this kind of explored how people can be tricked or manipulated into seeing or believing or doing whatever someone wants them to do. Obviously, that's kind of the thing with cults. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, all the characters were really not very nice. Like they were all doing things that I was like, ugh. So I wasn't really attached to them per se. I mean, I guess I was feeling for the main character, but still, she was just doing so many things that I was like, why are you doing that? Like, and yeah, not even like related to the cult. I mean, just in general, things that she was doing. So I was hoping this was going to be good because I feel like I've watched like documentaries on cults. Have I? I can't even think of one now. But if you know of any other books that are about a cult that are good, can you let me know? Because I would like to read them. But yeah, unfortunately, a 3, kind of a 3.5. I just feel like it could have been so much more, and when I was reading, I was kind of just reading to get through it. I just wish we felt more for the characters, and yeah, I don't know. There's lots of trigger warnings in this as well, so be aware. So I'll be back when I've finished another book. Okay, so I finished reading Yearbook by Seth Rogen. Hang on, let me put the dust jacket on and don't mind the unmade bed. Okay, this was literally hilarious. I was laughing out loud loads of times throughout this, and I feel like I can't remember a time when I've laughed out loud at a book this much. If you enjoy Seth Rogen and his humor, then you definitely would enjoy this book. Just be aware though, it is pretty much just stories about his life and his career, but almost all of them are involving him or somebody in the story on drugs. So if you don't like to read about that, then you wouldn't like this book, but it was hilarious. And the audiobook is also really, really great. He narrates it himself, which is why I wanted to read it and follow along. I was following along because there is like pictures and like there's like maps when he was talking about like the layout of his town and sorts of things like that. So I was following along, but I loved listening to the audiobook because yeah, hearing him read it, I feel like it just made it funnier. And it was really well produced. There was all like sound effects, and if he was meant to be on the phone, then they made it sound like they were on the phone. And it was also like a full cast, so there was heaps of other people and celebrities in the audiobook, so I would definitely recommend the audiobook as well. So as far as the category goes, I haven't read anything else in the humor category, but I mean, I would vote for this one because it did its job at being humorous. So far out of the two books, this is one that I can definitely recommend and I would vote for in the awards. This one got bumped anyway, but I wouldn't have voted for it because there were other things in the young adult category that I enjoyed. So I'm going to move on to some other books now and then I'll be back. Okay, hi, I'm going to ignore how much of a mess I look like right now because I need to film the update before I forget again because I finished a book last night. So I did finish reading A Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. Kian, this isn't time to have a chat. And unfortunately, I didn't love this as much as I was hoping to. I think I'm settling on like a 3-star, maybe even a 2.5, like a halfway mark. But yes, unfortunately, this was not as good as Normal People for me. Yeah, Sally Rooney does have a really unique writing style, a way of writing her books where it's very character driven. There's not a huge amount of plot, and where Normal People was just really relatable in the way that the characters were, I don't even know, like her characters feel great. They feel like real people that I know. But in this one, we were following two sort of like couples, but they weren't couples the whole time. And I don't know, I just kept kind of getting confused about which was which because there is Eileen and Simon who have been friends since they've been kids. And then Eileen became friends with Alice at college, I think. And then Alice has a Tinder date with Felix. So we're following Eileen and Simon and then Alice and Felix separately. But I kept getting confused about which couple was which. So I don't know. I found myself like zoning out a little bit and getting a bit bored. Which this doesn't have much of a plot, and I knew that because that is kind of how her books are. It's just following the characters in their lives. Okay, not me having to change locations again, but yes, unfortunately found myself zoning out, getting kind of bored with this one. And like I was trying to say, I know that it wasn't going to have some sort of exciting plot before I went into it because I'm familiar with, I guess, how Sally Rooney writes, but yeah, I don't know, I just wasn't super interested. There were some discussions that I liked, some quotes that were memorable for me, but unfortunately, yeah, I put it as a 3-star on Goodreads, which is maybe a 2.5 that's rounded up. I don't know. I just feel like I give 3 stars to books that I enjoyed more than this, so I'm like 2.5 is halfway, so... I also have Eyes That Kiss in the Corners, which I did end up getting. I think I'm going to give this to Kian for Christmas, because I do like giving books as Christmas presents. And this is one that I would really love him to have in his collection. And I've been wanting to get this pretty much all year. I think it came out in January. I remember seeing Books with Chloe talk about it in her anticipated releases, and I've wanted it since then, but I'm only just getting it now. So I'll probably read this now because obviously this is a children's picture book, so it won't take me long. But from what I know of this, it is about a little Asian girl. I'm guessing she's quite young since this is a children's book, so I'm assuming she's young. Learning to love her Asian eyes, which is something that is so beautiful to have in a children's book and something that I really appreciate. I wish that I had this book read to me, which if you didn't know, I am Filipino, but I'm also half white. So I did end up growing into a lot of my white features, and my brother did the opposite. He looked really white growing up, and then he grew more into his Asian features now as an adult. So I think growing up I did look a lot more Asian, and pretty much everyone besides maybe one other person in the school that I went to growing up in my smallish town were white. So I feel like there were not many non-white people, because yeah, pretty much all my friends were white with blonde hair and blue eyes, and that is what I considered to be beautiful, because that is what it was on TV. That is what all my friends were, and I was like the odd one out for being Asian with darker skin, darker hair. So yeah, this is something that I wish I could have had read to me as well. And the other reason that I really am happy to have this is, if you didn't know, before having a baby, I was a school teacher. So if I go back to doing that soon, I'll be able to use this in my classroom library as well, which I'm sure that a lot of the children that I teach will appreciate as well. So yeah, excited to read this to Kian, which even though I'm having a moment, because in the last clip, I think, I did a reaction, was it the last clip? Yeah. To the top 10, and 2 of the books that I am planning on reading didn't make the top 10. So I think I'm not going to read them in this vlog, because yeah, this vlog is just me figuring out what I should vote for pretty much. So I have already read 1 book that made it in, and I enjoyed this, so this can get my vote. I read 1 book that did not make it into the top 10, but it wouldn't have gotten my vote anyway. So thankfully I had read something else in this category that I could vote for. This one got bumped. I feel like I should just not read this one. The other reason I'm hesitant is because I read the back and I remember what this is about, and it does deal with infertility. So that's something that I have to be super careful with reading, because that's something that, yeah, that can be a bit of a trigger for me. So I think I'm actually going to put this one off for now. I just have so many books that I want to read in December, and they didn't make the top 10, so I can't vote for them anyway. And the other book is The Prophets, which I'm still really, really interested in reading, but I only just got this, so I don't feel too bad if I'm putting this off a little bit more. This is the historical fiction pick that did not make the top 10, so I don't feel too bad about putting those down, because I have literally so many books that I want to read in December before the end of the year that I don't want to overwhelm myself with books that I don't really need to read. So now this vlog started out being me reading all the books that I already had on my shelves for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and now it's just the ones that made the top 10, with the exception of The Project, because I started it already. So yeah, I've read these 3. I'm about to read my 4th, and then I will also be reading The X-Hex, which did make the top 10. However, it has not arrived to me. I have been thinking it's gonna come for like the last 3 days, and it hasn't. So whenever that arrives, I will read it, and then I will come back. For now, going to read Eyes That Kiss in the Corners. Also, what a cute title. My boyfriend and I were talking about that yesterday when it turned up. That is the sweetest little title, like Eyes That Kiss in the Corners. How cute. Hi, I'm here to finally wrap up this vlog. I'm filming like a bunch of videos at once, so I'm getting all confused. I've read all of these books out of order, but I'm gonna clip all the clips together. It's fine. But I wanted to wait and end it when the official winners of this year's Goodreads Awards had been announced, which I think they just have. So first, let me update you on my reading. I did read the children's book Eyes That Kiss in the Corners, and it was super, super sweet. Honestly, one of my favorite book titles ever. And yeah, just discussing this little girl and her loving her eyes the way they are. But yeah, definitely very, very sweet. And then I had to wait because I was waiting for my parcel to arrive, which was like lost in like part of the delivery process, but it finally arrived, and I got The X-Hex, which was the romance pick that I had. So I read this all in one day. It's a really, really quick read. I think definitely reading it around the autumn months and around Halloween would have probably made the experience a lot better. It definitely got those vibes, but it was a really fun little witchy book. Sorry, I just adjusted the angle because I was self-conscious about the people outside of my window. But yeah, it is a witchy romance where the main character, we get this prologue chapter in the past where she has a breakup with her boyfriend or someone she's seeing, and she puts this curse on him which she doesn't realize is going to be a proper curse. And then we get 9 years later where he comes back to the town after having moved away, and they find out that the curse was actually real. And this had a lot more like witchy aspects than I thought. Like it's got a lot to do with magic, but I actually really liked it because I'm not a huge romance reader. I really like books where, yes, there's a romance, but they're doing other things. So they're trying to solve this mystery of this curse as well, so it's not just the romance. So yeah, fun little second chance romance. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars, so it's still not something that I would have even voted for in its category anyway. So unfortunately what happened here is we had 2 books that I had on my shelf for their categories. These were the only 2 that I had for historical and for the thriller category, and they got bumped. They didn't make it to the top 10, so I didn't rate them because I couldn't vote for them anyway. And then this book, and I had one other on my shelves. The other one was the Sally Thorne book. It got bumped. So I read this one, and it didn't end up being the book that I would have voted for in its category either, because I think I liked One Last Stop better than this. This I started reading. It got bumped out, but I read it anyway. I wouldn't have voted for it even if it made it to the top 10. Oh, you scared me. This one was really funny. The only book I'd read from the humour category, and yeah, I did vote for it. I thought it was funny, so it counts as a humorous book. And then this one I read for the fiction category, and I gave it like a 2.5 or a 3-star rating, and I voted for nothing in that category because this was the only book I'd read, and I just didn't want to vote for it just because it was the only book I'd read, because I feel like there were other books in that category that I would have liked more. So, oh, and then I read Isaac Kissing the Corners, which I loved, so I voted for that. Now this is like kind of a fail. Are you laughing? Don't you rip my books? This was kind of a fail now because I read all the books, but I don't know. Which was because I read the top 10 in the fiction category last year, and I only ended up liking the ones I was interested in anyway. So that's why I only read one from each that I was interested in anyway, because I thought I would have the same result. But turns out I didn't love some of them, but it's fine. Anyway, let's react to this year's winners, because I think they were just announced, like I said. This was an absolute shit show. Okay, I can already see that the winner of the fiction category was Beautiful World, Where Are You?, which I did not vote for because I didn't like it the best. Dial A for Aunties came second, which funnily enough is the only other one that I had. Yeah, I've since read Infinite Country, and I really loved that one. That would have been what I voted. Okay, let's look at the mystery thriller, even though I read nothing. The Last Thing He Told Me won that one. Okay, I've seen that around a lot. I haven't read it, obviously. Malibu Rising won, which I could have predicted because Taylor Jenkins Reid. But I think, hang on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Prophets was the 11th book. It almost made the top 10. Why is there so many people outside my window? Ah, of course, Sarah J Maas. Oh, the TJ Klune came next. All right. I still think I loved The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. Alright, romance. People We Meet on Vacation. Okay, I am still interested in that. I'm currently reading, as you can see, The Love Hypothesis, which I will have finished, hopefully. Okay, we've had to change angles because Kian wanted the tripod, but I would have predicted that The Love Hypothesis would have won. One Last Stop, I did love that one. Uh-oh. Okay, in horror, I voted for A Dowry of Blood, but... Okay, humour, Broken by Jenny Lawson. Yearbook came 4th. Oh, of course the John Green one in its thing. Yeah, the popular authors just always win, don't they? Okay, so The Spanish Love Deception won in the debut. Okay, Young and Old, Firekeeper's Daughter. Wow, I'm interested in reading that one. I think I voted for Concrete Rose. And then, oh, the Rick Riordan book won in the children's. Okay, Eyes That Kiss in the Corners came 3rd. And then Amari 4th. Okay, so anyway, like I said, this video is kind of a fail because I did not get a new favourite book out of this. I mean, my highest rating was the Seth Rogen book, but this isn't a new favorite for me. It was just funny, which is sad because when I read the 2020 favorites, I did get a new favorite book out of that. But that's fine, that's fine. Anyway, doesn't matter. This video it is what it is. I read some books that were already on my bookshelf, so we can call it a success because I got my physical TBR down a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Let me know if you were happy with the Goodreads choice winners, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a bit of a popularity contest like we all know, but it's a bit of fun to see what the most popular books of the year were. So alrighty, I'm gonna go because I don't want to make this longer than it already needs to be. Sorry this was a mess, but my life is kind of a mess. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in another video tomorrow.